Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Selena from Wholeness Campaign, and today I'm going to be answering the question, how do you manage all of the chores when you are cooking everything from scratch? Now, this is a big deal if you're on the GAPS diet or any kind of diet where you can't be having processed foods. And for me, the name of the game has always been order. It's been managing and creating a structure and a system that allows order to be had throughout the whole week and mitigates as much stress as possible. So I'm going to kind of break that down, and I'm going to go into a few different categories. The first one being any kinds of ingredients that need to be prepped for meals, dishes and cleanup and all of that, as well as cooking and how to manage all of those three things, because I think when you're cooking from scratch, you're going to actually need to be making the ingredients that the meals are going to be made with, and you're going to need to be thinking about how to clean everything up at the end. So I'm going to go into each of those, give my kind of perspective as somebody who's been on GAPS for a while. So this is a little bit of like a GAPS take on all of this. So let's jump in. The first thing I'm going to go into is ingredients. If you're cooking things from scratch, if you're on a diet, you're going to need to think ahead about the things that comprise a meal. Most of the times it's going to be way more expensive to buy all of these things at a store, but if you are in the position to be able to do that, then oftentimes you can find things at local farms that are pre-made or health food stores that are already made so that you don't have to do some of that hard work. But I'm going to assume here that you are looking to save a few bucks, and making those ingredients ahead of time is going to be part of this process for you. So for me, I'm going to give you just my things that I make when I'm on GAPS, and those are my cultured things, my fermented things, my meat stock, and my juice. And so those are four kind of pretty broad categories that apply specifically to GAPS. But I generally will have a smoothie in the afternoon as one of my meals. And to do that, I'm going to need to have kefir or yogurt pre-made. So that's an ingredient that I'm going to need for that meal, as well as my meat stock. So thinking ahead about what ingredients make up your meals. And then what I have found to be the most helpful and the most successful in this is just delegating days to certain tasks. So there's a lot when it comes to GAPS. Listing out what mine are is going to be just kefir, yogurt, let's say juicing, meat stock, sauerkraut, beet kvass, and even I will make my own kombucha. So all of these things are really important on the GAPS diet. They're key essentials to most meals. But if I did all of it in one day, I would, by any stretch of imagination, be able to handle all of these tasks, and it would probably be a pretty overwhelming day, especially since I do work full time. So my strategy with this has been, for one, as much of it that you can delegate to family members, do so. Is allow people in your family to be involved in the process, people in your household to be involved in the process. If someone is eating, then they could maybe take one of these chores, and if you have enough people, you could actually just have each person be in charge of one thing. Now, that may not be possible for you. Maybe you're single, maybe you're just married, and most of these chores fall on you. So I would actually recommend delegating a day of the week to each of these chores so that at the end of the week, you've got all of them done, and a little bit of sanity in that process is still intact. So what this looks like for me is I will juice once a week. I will do meat stock once a week, and I batch make my meat stock. I will do my yogurt and my sour cream on the same day right after we get it from the farm. Get that cream from the farm, we put it right into the yogurt. I have someone else living here who does kefir, and then I cycle through those different ferments on Thursday. Anytime I need to replenish my liver pieces that I will swallow in the mornings, I'll link a video on that. I also will just chop those up on Sundays. So I've got kind of this rhythm throughout the week that definitely gets adjusted here and there, but it allows it so there's really one main prep thing each day, and so they don't all end up on the same day, which would oftentimes leave you in the kitchen all day long because you're having to make all the ingredients and make all of your meals and clean up, which is just exhausting. And I'll just admit that is very exhausting. That leads me to my second point, which is the actual cooking of these meals. My biggest tip is going to be, especially in the beginning, make it easy on yourself. Learn how to make one or two meals and just keep cycling between those two until you slowly add in different recipes that you start to enjoy. But make it easy on yourself. Make recipes and repeat those recipes so that you're not feeling like you need to come up with like the most spectacular meals every single time you go to cook, and you can have and enjoy lots of leftovers. And this is also where batch cooking really comes in handy. If you make big batches of things, you oftentimes won't need to have to cook. And this can be a lifesaver when you are, working and trying to maintain a healthy diet. I don't know if you've seen all those videos online of people prepping their entire food for the week in one day, but there are people who actually spend about 3 hours in a day and then they cook all of their food for the entire week, which is, I think, a little bit crazy, but batch making food really can be a lifesaver in this step. Another big tip I have here is if you haven't started meal planning, that is something that has been a lifesaver for my husband and I, because it can be a lot to mentally have to think through what am I going to eat right now, and then you open up the fridge and then you eat things that are newer, then things that are older, then things go bad. If you can actually get into a rhythm of meal planning in the beginning of the week, even if it's a loose plan, you will save yourself a lot of the mental energy that cooking entails, because you're not having to decide what you're eating. You've already got the ingredients prepped for the week for these meals, and now it just comes down to putting it all together. And it really doesn't need to be much of a mental process at all. My last section here is going to be dishes, and this has been just a wild process in our home. We've gone from using a dishwasher to not having a dishwasher, living in people's houses who we didn't use their dishwasher, or we did sometimes use their dishwasher. And if you don't have a dishwasher, I've done it without it. So I just want you to know that I've definitely done it. But the biggest advantage you're going to have here is if you are developing rhythms and routines around cleaning up. If you just make a train wreck of a kitchen all at once and wait until the next meal to clean it up, or wait until the evening to clean it up, it's going to make the cleanup process feel way more overwhelming than it actually needs to be. Some things that have really come in handy here is when we have a dishwasher, which I know not everybody has access to, is we are closing the kitchen at night, running the dishwasher at night, so then in the morning, it's just become a routine and a habit for me to unload the dishwasher and then have an open dishwasher throughout the day that people can just put dishes straight into. Closing the kitchen at night has been a game changer for me. We wipe down counters, we clean out the sink, we're starting the dishwasher, and we're cleaning off those cast iron pans so that in the morning when we go to cook and we have to get out the door, we have an easy, fresh palette that we don't have to start off cleaning a ton with. Closing the kitchen is a really good tip. And if you don't have a dishwasher, my recommendation really would be just to clean as you go. That is what we did when we didn't have a dishwasher, is just not letting dishes even sit in the sink. We just clean it as it's being used, and it's dry, and it's constant. So there's constantly dishes that are drying, and then finding a time specifically that you got that rhythm of just putting those dry dishes away for the next time you need to use them. If you live alone, this clean as you go system is going to work really well, but maybe if you have a family, then you are delegating who cleans after somebody cooks, and really just finding the system that works for you. Every family is going to be different, every situation is going to be different, but I do think that the more you can be proactive in thinking about these things ahead of time, the less stressful it becomes, because it's not actually a decision you even really need to make. It's like, do I do the dishes now or do I do them later? No, we just clean them as we go, or we put dishes straight in the dishwasher as the day goes on. And so there really isn't like a pile of dishes waiting for me at the end of the day. We just are cleaning up our dishes after our meals consistently, and it really does mitigate that feeling of overwhelm when you're staring at a kitchen that's a total train wreck. So I hope these tips were helpful for you. If you got anything valuable out of this video, please like and subscribe. It's my passion to walk alongside people as they heal and grow. It inspires me and hopefully brings encouragement to you. Thanks for watching.